Today is Thursday, March 5th, 2026. My name is Judy Herrera, and I'm in Camarillo, California. It is my honor and pleasure to interview Bob Larson for the Conejo Valley Chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution and Colonial Dames, 17th Century, for the Veterans History Project with the Library of Congress. This video is being recorded by Ed Lynch from Advanta Videography and contains the reflections and memories of Bob's time in the Marine Corps. This is Bob's story. Bob.
Yes.
You were born on New Year's Day, 1947 in Los Angeles, California, to Alfred Red Larson and Elizabeth Betty Stewart. You had one younger brother. In high school, you enjoyed math and science and took 4 years of Latin. Your high school had a distinguished honor. Do you want to pick up your story there?
Yes. My high school was Lusinger, and our name was the Olympians. And the reason we were the Olympians, and we're the only school in the United States that can do this, in the 1932 Olympics in LA, we were a training facility for the Olympic Games. And we are now sanctioned, have been sanctioned since then by the U.S. Olympic Committee to fly the Olympic rings and call ourselves Olympians. Nice. And it's the only school in the United States that's so authorized.
That is cool. Okay, and then what other kinds of things did you do in high school?
I played basketball and baseball, belonged to a couple of clubs. Mostly I enjoyed going to games. I'll tell you a quick story about our football team. My freshman year in high school, our football team made Sports Illustrated magazine, which you probably think is, oh, that's great. Yeah. No, it was not.
Aww.
We made Sports Illustrated magazine because not only did we lose every game, we were the only high school team in the United States that went the entire season without ever scoring a single point.
Wow.
So my sophomore year, probably half of the varsity high school of the football team was my class. By my senior year, we went undefeated and we were the highest average scoring team in the state.
Oh my gosh. How do you think that turnaround happened?
It was the fact that I was in, as we talked about, one of those classes that was just about head and shoulders above the rest. Mm-hmm. And we set our minds out to accomplish something, and we did it.
Wow. And then what did you do after high school?
After high school, I started junior college at El Camino. Thought I knew what I wanted to do until I'd taken some classes in that and realized that this is not where I want to be. Went there for a couple of years, got bored, and in 1966 I enlisted in the Marine Corps.
Okay. So what led you to the Marine Corps? My
family history. I had a great uncle and an uncle who were both Marines, one in the First World War, one in the Second World War. Myself made Vietnam the third generation, and my son was in the Marines, so he's a fourth generation Marine in my family.
Oh, well.
And I've got 3 grandsons. I'm hoping one of them will pick up the mantle and carry on.
Okay. And your dad was also military as well?
My dad and 2 of his brothers and a nephew were all in the Navy in World War II. My dad was in Panama because they wouldn't let him in a combat zone. He had bad hearing. But I had his brother, my Uncle Donald, was on destroyers. He had 2 destroyers that were sunk by kamikazes that he was on off of Okinawa.
Wow.
My other uncle, I know he was in the Navy. I only talked to him once in my life. I don't know where he was at. And my cousin was on PT boats, and he wouldn't talk about anything about what he did in the war.
Yeah, very traumatic. Sure. Okay. So were your parents okay with you going in the Corps?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So where did you sign up? Where was this happening?
Well, where I signed up was in Torrance. There's a recruiting station, the closest one to my house.
Okay.
And that was in May of '66. And I don't remember the exact sequence of stuff, but I signed up, went through all their testing, and I showed up for boot camp on July 8th, 1966. I started boot camp at MCRD San Diego.
San Diego. Okay, so tell us a little more about boot camp. What was that like for you?
Well, it was, as you can imagine, there was a lot of physical training, but there also was a lot of classroom stuff where they taught you history of the Marine Corps, history of different things, partly history of the United States. There was a lot of classwork that went with the physical part of it, so it wasn't all out on the obstacle course.
Okay, and then how long was boot camp? Do you remember how long that was?
Boot camp was 12 weeks. 12 and we spent two of those 12 weeks up in Camp Pendleton on the rifle range. We had to go up to Camp Pendleton for the rifle range.
Okay.
Which was a good time because the DIs kind of went easy on us up there because they wanted us to shoot well.
Good.
And we were good. By the platoon I was in went 100% on the rifle range, and we were the honor platoon for that company.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And then graduation. Were your family able to come?
My family was able to come down for graduation in San Diego. After graduation, they put us on a bus and took us to Camp Pendleton for infantry training. Everybody went to basic infantry training, no matter what your MOS was. But I think that was 3 or 4 weeks of basic infantry training. And when you completed that, then you went to whatever your MOS specialty school was.
Okay.
Mine was radio operator,
okay.
And that was at Camp Pendleton. So I think I had 2 weeks leave between ITR and basic radio school.
So did you come back home for those 2 weeks?
Yeah, I was home for the 2 weeks.
Came home. And then, what was your MOS? What was your specialty? What they want you to do?
My MOS was 2531, which is field radio operator. But when I got to Vietnam, I was taken into what they call the Tactical Air Control Party. So my job there was with the radio to talk to the aircraft. So whether it be reconnaissance, resupply, medevac, fire mission, whatever it was, I was the guy on the radio talking to the pilots.
Okay. Okay, so how did you get to Vietnam?
We flew.
I
flew over. They flew you out of Norton Air Force Base, which isn't there anymore, in Riverside, to Okinawa. You spent about 3 days in Okinawa where they got your orders, collected your extra gear. There was some orientation there. Then they flew you from Okinawa to Da Nang. And from Da Nang, they sent you out to whatever battalion you were going to be assigned to.
Okay, so you want to tell us a little bit more about your battalion and what you were assigned to do?
Well, I was assigned to the radio section, and then they assigned me from the radio section over to the tactical air control. We started out, the first place I was at in my first tour was about 20 clicks west of Da Nang, out in Arizona territory, which is what they called it. But we moved around quite a bit. We were everywhere from the Da Nang area up to Hue, out to Khe Sanh.
So what exactly were you doing when you're a radio operator or an RTO? What exactly were you doing?
Pretty much, if I was in the battalion headquarters, because we kind of rotated back and forth, everybody was not with the company all the time.
Okay.
So you got to break a little bit.
Good.
If you're in the battalion headquarters, then you worked a shift on the radio, working to the tactical air control party frequency. So if somebody needed something, they called battalion, and you called wherever it was, the support element, to get you a medevac or resupply or whatever the need was, or to Da Nang for tactical air support.
And when they were calling you, was this in code or this was, how did this work?
We did put some things in code, but it was the old code where you had to look it up in a book and write it down, and then look it up at the other end and decipher. So most of it came clear.
Okay.
Because it was something you needed. You didn't have time to code it and decode it. You know, we needed a medevac and right now, so they it would just come like that.
Okay. So when you weren't at battalion and you were out on the line, what did that look like?
Well, when I was on the line, I was the tactical air control frequency radio operator for the company, and usually I was with the company commander. So if he needed something, he could tell me, I need air support, I need a medevac, whatever. Most of the time it came through him.
Yeah. And do you want to tell us a little bit about that equipment that you had to carry?
Mostly we carried at the time a PRC-25. The first tour I was exclusively a PRC-25, which was a battery operated on your back. You've probably seen pictures of it in the movies. A lot of times they show the big long whip antennas, which you tried not to use, or if you did, you folded it down because you drew attention to yourself. And they also had a shorter antenna that we used, but that didn't work well. It didn't have the distance for transmitting, so you used the longer one.
The longer one.
Yeah.
And then you would be, again, right next to your commander, so I'm sure it made you a target for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
That and the antenna made you a target.
Yeah. So, what kind of food were you eating when you're out on the line? How was that?
Mostly when we were out in the field, it was sea rats or sea rations. Some of it I think was leftovers from World War II.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Gosh.
But it was most of the time that's what it was when you were out. Once in a while you get a hot meal brought out to you if you were in a company that was in a company headquarters for a period of time.
So what was the living conditions like at the line versus where you were at on headquarters?
If you were lucky enough to be in a battalion, you were probably in a tent with a wooden floor on it. And,
Okay.
there was a mess hall and headquarters facilities there, so the food was better.
Yeah.
Battalion aid station was there. There was, they even had showers at some of the places later on.
Nice.
But it was, on the line it was, if you were in a position where you're going to be for a few days, you might put up a tent. Otherwise, most of the time you dug a hole and throw a poncho cover over it, and that's where you were at for the night or the day or a couple of days, whatever it was you were there for.
Yeah.
Most places you didn't stay overnight at a place and then you moved the next day to somewhere else.
Okay. And how did the weather impact your job or your just living?
Well, during the monsoon seasons, there was times when it rained so hard you couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and it was ridiculously wet. And you wasted your time digging a hole in the ground because it filled up with water.
Yeah.
So you just kind of pulled the poncho or the house shelter over your head and tried to keep dry, which was impossible.
Wow.
In the summer, though, it got hot.
Yeah.
It was not unusual to be 115, 120, and the 90-something% humidity.
So very uncomfortable most of the time.
Most of the time.
Were you able to get mail, or were you riding home? Okay.
We got mail. We could send out mail. That was basically our only way to communicate with your family or your friends back in the States. You know.
Yeah, your brother,
yeah,
mom and dad. And then I know you would had an opportunity for R&R. So where did you go for your?
I went to Hawaii.
You went to Hawaii.
Yes.
Okay, and was that? How long were you able to be there?
If I remember, it was 7 days.
Okay.
You had a week R&R plus travel time on.
Good. So they just flew you over.
Yeah, they flew you from, if I remember right, they flew you directly from Da Nang to Hawaii, to Honolulu, and then I don't remember how we found. They had places where we could stay. If I remember right. I don't remember.
So your first tour, you were there for 12 months?
No, first tour for the Marines was 13 months. which got changed to 12 months, and I can tell you why.
Okay.
We had one of our air liaison officers daddy was a congressman. And he didn't know until he got to us that the Marines did 13 months and everybody else did 12. So he wrote Daddy, why is this? Daddy went to McNamara, the Secretary of Defense.
Sure.
And shortly thereafter, the Marines were doing 12 months like everybody else. But it was too late. I was too far into it at that time. So I had stayed the 13 months.
Yeah, so you were there from March 67 to April 68.
Yes.
And then when you came home, where did you go? What happened
I went
next?
to Naval Weapons Station Fallbrook.
And what was your job responsibilities there?
We were Marine barracks, we were military police basically.
Okay.
Guard duty was, Naval Weapons Station Fallbrook was an ammunition dump and a builder of munitions. A lot of the smart bombs came out of there. Back then they were called the Walleyes. They built them and constructed them there, then shipped them to Seal Beach to go overseas to wherever they were going to.
Oh gosh.
There was a lot of ammunition bunkers there. Scary time when I was there. That area gets a lot of brush fires.
Mm.
And we were told to go stand on top of an ammunition bunker and with these little backpacks full of water and squirt them down.
Oh gosh.
And asked the guys, well, what's in this particular bunker? Oh, I think that one has 500-pound bombs on it. And you want me to stand on top of this thing? I don't think so.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
So were you able to have some leave or see your folks while you were there?
I was, the way the duty worked there, we had every other weekend off. So every other weekend I was able to come home for the weekend.
Oh, nice. Did you have a car?
I had
then?
a car there.
Oh, good. Okay. And a girlfriend yet?
I found a girlfriend. One of my friends got married, and I met this girl at the wedding, so we started dating after that.
Oh, good. Okay. So you had a little normal life in there. Okay, and then how did you happen to have a second tour? How did that come about?
Well, because I was I've been out of the country for 2 years, and it was my turn to rotate back in.
Wow. So
because I still had a couple of years of active duty time to go.
So when did you go back to Vietnam?
I went back in September of '69 and stayed until September 1st of '69 when I got there. Basically September 1st of '70 when I left.
Okay.
In between, I got married.
Oh, okay.
I got married on July 12th of '69. Had 2 weeks leave. Went back to Camp Pendleton for the induction training to go back, and by September I was back in Vietnam.
Oh, goodness. And was this one going to be a 12-month tour?
This was a 12-month tour. Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to talk about any battles that you were engaged in?
Well, the first tour we saw a lot of action. We were at Wade during Tet, and I think that's a pretty well-known story. There's one battle that we were in. It was at the Quavette River. And we were a landing force. We were sent in. We were told by intelligence that we were going into. There was a VC company in this area that we were going to go in and remove them. When we got there, we discovered it wasn't a VC company, it was an NVA regiment.
Which means?
Which is a whole lot more people and better trained, and it became a very fierce battle for several days before we finally routed them.
Mm. Okay.
Do you want to do the phone?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
If it's important, I'll leave a message. If it's a telemarketer, I'll tell you what I do to telemarketers.
So the second tour, you found it a little bit easier in that there was less combat.
A lot of the major combat was over by that time.
Okay.
There were no big operations going on. They were already starting the Vietnamization of the war. 3rd Marine Division was on its way out back to Okinawa and to its main base. So there was some, but it wasn't like the first time. It wasn't the big kisser.
We always pick Wednesdays. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, it is Thursday. I'm sorry, it's Thursday. Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
So you want to tell us, so the second tour, you were able to see a little bit of the country?
Second tour, I started out in what was called Hill 37, which was about 10 miles west of Da Nang. And we were basically we had, well, the infantry companies were out in the field area. The battalion was in this old French fort. That was our battalion headquarters, and it was on a major bridge that we were responsible for maintaining.
Okay.
So the infantry company saw some combat. I spent most of the time in battalion headquarters at that time because I was a supervisor,
Okay.
sergeant.
And you got to take a tour of,
After 26th Marine Regiment came back to the States, we moved out of that to forget the name of the camp on the north side of Da Nang. So we took over their headquarters. We took over what was called the Esso plant, which was a gasoline refinery. The Namo Bridge, which is the main bridge over the Namo River for everything going north, up Haiwan Pass, up to Wei and Fubai and those areas. And we took over Elephant Valley. And properly named because not at that time, but earlier in the war, the VC used elephants to transport their rockets and stuff down
Really?
to shoot at Da Nang air base.
oh my gosh, huh.
You know, a lot of
Did not know
people
that.
don't know that they did that. But we did one major action in Elephant Valley. I forget what army, I think it was 101st Airborne, was sweeping from one end to the other, and we went out and set up as a blockade across the other end of the valley to make sure nobody got in or out.
Yeah. So did you get a chance to tour a palace in Wei?
One day, 4 of us jumped in a Jeep and we drove from where we were at north of Da Nang up to Wei. Wei was still pretty torn up at the time. But we were able to, because there was no guards, there was nobody there at the old Imperial Palace. So we went in and walked around there for quite a while. Went into the throne room. I got pictures of that. All the throne room, all the gold was still there. It was not
Unbelievable.
damaged, believably.
Wow.
There was a lot of these old, I don't know if they were French brass cannons out, so, and they were taller than my head.
Wow.
They were probably 12 feet, 14 feet long, and there was dozens of them out there. The moat that went around it was green with. Then I discovered why the Perfume River was named the Perfume River.
Why is that?
Because it stunk.
Oh.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not a good smell. Yeah, one of the memories that I do have of Vietnam is the smell. Everything there smells like a landfill, a garbage dump. I mean, that's just one of those things that stuck in my mind. This place stinks.
Oh. So, did you get an R&R on your second tour as well?
Second R&R, we went back to Hawaii,
Back
and
to
I met my wife there, and
Oh,
we
nice.
spent the week together,
Oh, that's nice.
did some touring, and
Okay, so after your second tour, was there anything else that you wanted to share about either one of your tours that we missed?
I still have several friends from the second tour that I keep in contact with. The first tour, we just didn't stay in contact. I don't know why. But there's the lieutenant that I had, and there's 4 other guys that well, we're all over the country, but we get together or talk to each other or email or stay in contact with each other, so whatever, see what we're doing.
Nice. Okay. So then when you got back, how much time did you have left to serve?
I got back in September, and I'd had until July the next year before I was released from active duty. I got assigned to 1st Battalion, 7th Marines at Camp Pendleton.
Okay, so still in California.
I was still in California.
Yeah.
I was still able to drive home on the weekends. At that time, 1-7 had just come back from Vietnam, so it was a H&S headquarters and support company was the only company. There was no line companies yet. They hadn't built themselves back up.
Oh.
We did have one big deal that happened. We came through the barracks one day, and everybody, polish your boots, shine up, get dressed in your best utilities, and fall out on the parade ground. And for what? Can't tell you. Well, we get out, line up, and pretty soon this big limo pulls up, and out steps Richard Nixon.
No way.
Yeah. And Richard Nixon, because when the Western White House was in San Clemente, just right outside the gate from where we were at. And Mr. Nixon, I had a great amount of respect for. He went up and down our ranks. He shook hands with every single Marine that was out there. Just made you feel special.
Good. Because you were, really. That's a necessary thing. They didn't give you guys big parades, so it was nice that you got the handshake.
It was something very special to, how many times do you get to shake hands with the president? I got 2 times I got to do it.
Oh.
I'll tell you about it later.
Okay.
After I was out of the Marines.
Okay. So what was your job? What were you doing when you were at Pendleton?
I was in charge of the the comm shop.
Okay.
So we didn't have exercises and stuff. We just had equipment and practices, and we did inspections and stuff. But I was the sergeant in charge of the communications shop, the radio shop.
So was your wife living with you on base, or?
No, she lived in Camarillo because she had a job in Oxnard at the time.
Okay. So did you just come home on weekends?
Come home on weekends.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, well, back then it was about a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Today it's probably a 5-hour drive.
Yeah. Traffic across.
Or more. Yeah, because you go through Orange County, and there was nothing in Orange County except for the Marine Bay, that El Toro.
Yeah.
So traffic was much easier to get through.
Much easier. Okay, so were you looking forward to getting out of the Marines, or were they encouraging you to stay?
They encouraged me to stay, but we had a battalion commander at the time that was a jerk. He was a reserve that came back active to try to pick up his silver oak leaf. And he made the mistake of doing a lot of things that didn't please the sergeant major, who was a friend of the regimental commander, the colonel. And so he went to visit him one day, and 2 days later we had a new battalion commander.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So they got rid of him.
Okay. But you decided not to stay on.
After dealing with him, I said I've had enough. Besides, my wife wanted me to get out.
Well, there you go.
But
So when were you discharged from the Marine Corps?
well, I separated from active duty on July 8th, 1971.
Okay.
I actually discharged in May of 72 because it's a 6-year tour of service, but I did 5 years active duty, so you had to add a little time on each end. Inactive.
Okay.
Waiting to go to boot camp, and then after separation from active service before I got my final discharge.
Nice. And then what was your goal? What were you going to do next?
I went back to school. I started out working as a park ranger up at Lake Casitas, and some of they were putting out some classes up there on different things, first aid, some law enforcement stuff with the sheriff's department. And I really liked the people that were talking to us and what they were telling us. So I applied to the sheriff's department. I started with Ventura County Sheriff in August of 1971.
Oh, very nice. So that was the career choice that you
That
decided?
was the career choice I decided on.
Okay. So you had a little bit of experience when you did some MP work?
Yeah, I think that kind of swayed me that direction. 'Cause
Okay.
like I said, when I started college, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and I discovered shortly it was not it, and I wasn't sure what the alternative was going to be. But I really liked the law enforcement activities. So,
Oh, good. So what kinds of jobs did you do in the sheriff's department?
well, like all of after academy, the sheriff's department, everybody started in the jail.
Okay.
So this was the old jail up on Polite, which was quite a place. It was a relic at the time.
Yeah.
And from there, I went to Thousand Oaks Station and worked patrol for a number of years. Then I went to detectives out there, made sergeant, went back to patrol out there. Then I went to took over the traffic bureau as a supervisor, and I spent a number of years there. I became a academy instructor. I taught all the vehicle code classes. I taught the academy class for 20 years, for every academy class for 20 years.
Oh, nice.
With the,
Oh, good.
I was also a member of the Sheriff's Mounted Unit, which was
Oh,
extra duty on special occasions, but we got to do a lot of things. We used to work the county fair every year.
yeah.
Parades, carnivals, special events.
Yeah.
We worked the Rodney King riots at the Simi Courthouse.
Oh, wow. On horseback?
On horseback, yes ma'am.
Oh, wow.
I think we had about 20 horses out there.
Where are your horses kept?
Our detail, the horse was your own.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't provide a horse, you had to have your own horse.
Okay.
Fortunately at the time I lived over in Solmus and we had a barn and I had room for the horse there. Otherwise you had to find some place to
Stable it.
stable it.
Yeah. Oh, that is really interesting.
And that's, when I was there, that's when my second presidential meeting occurred.
Oh.
When they opened the Reagan Library, I was part of the sheriff's detail out there. And I had the honor of meeting and shaking hands with all 5 of the living presidents. It was one of those days, you go home and you don't want to wash your hand for a week, you know?
Oh, what a privilege.
Yeah,
Oh, Bob, that's awesome.
So that was Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, and Bush Sr.
Wow. That's very
And
cool.
I think Bush Sr. is the one that wanted to meet us. He wanted to meet the people that were in charge of the detail.
Yeah.
That was
He
part
got
of a
that.
learning experience putting that together.
Yeah.
FBI and the Secret Service and
I can't even
the things
imagine.
that went on that you,
Behind the
sniper
scenes.
teams, the flights of F-18s that were overhead all the time that nobody saw or heard. A lot of things that were never seen or heard of by the public, fortunately.
Quite a security nightmare to put all 5 of them
It
there.
was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was.
What a privilege.
It was.
How cool, Bob. Well, what was your favorite part of your 30 years in the sheriff's department?
Well, I love being in traffic because I like doing accident investigation.
Oh.
It's a lot of math, it's a lot of physics. It's a lot of like putting a puzzle back together, trying to figure out what happened and why did it happen and how did it happen. And being on the horseback, that was my second favorite.
Yeah.
As you get on the horse, we could walk through the fairgrounds and you'd watch people come out. The Ventura PD had foot patrols out there. And you watch guys come over, or citizens come over and just give them a bad time and swear at them. And they get over to you and it'd be, oh, this is cool, can I pass your horse? It'd be like a 180-degree difference in their attitude towards things.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's very
And,
cool.
one thing I did, they all does your horse bite? And I told him, he only bit me once. He wouldn't touch my horse. My horse did not like to be touched on the head. You know, if I get the kids on the shoulders or the back.
Yeah.
So, but
Not the muzzle.
he did not like, he'd shake his head and stuff, and I was always afraid he was going to, you know, not intentionally, but shake the head, and so I just said, don't touch the head.
Yeah.
But usually when I give them that, they left him alone anyways. I will tell you well, there's two stories from the county fair. There's one year that my partner and I were walking the promenade up towards the pier, and then coming back, and we're coming back, Aloha Steakhouse, I don't know if you know where that's at. Okay.
Yeah.
So at that time they had a planter out in front of it on the promenade side.
Okay.
There was this old derelict standing in the planter, urinating on the window
Oh.
as we came by. So we took him into custody, and as we're walking off, we turned around and looked back, and because somebody's motioned back to us, the entire restaurant is standing up, giving us a standing ovation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the other event that happened up there is when the fair used to be back in October, and we were riding back at the end of the night to put the horses away, when somebody had opened the gates to all the bulls from the rodeo and let them out. So here come the bulls down the main street of the fairgrounds, out the Garden Street gate, and that's about where we caught up with them, so we're chasing them. And for some reason, when they got up Garden Street to Main Street in Ventura, they turned. And we chased them into an alleyway that dead-ended, so they couldn't get out. And they finally calmed down. We were able to herd them back to the fairgrounds, and got them back into the parking lot. And forget the name, Figueroa Street. And there was a fence out there that crossed the fairgrounds that came to a 90-degree bend where you couldn't get out. So we got them in there, and somebody had called the cowboys to come get their. And over in the corner there was a Porsche, brand new Porsche with paper plates on it still. So here come the cowboys with their ATVs, and the next thing you know, the bulls are off running. And when they were done, that Porsche was about that tall off the ground. They just stomped it.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't know whatever happened after that. We left.
Yeah. We needed to go home.
You know, it was their bulls and their road. No, it wasn't our problem anymore.
So along the way, you had children?
I had, well, my first wife, we had a daughter.
Okay.
She lives in Camarillo still. She works for the State Department of Rehabilitation.
Nice.
And we parted our ways, and I got married again to she was a deputy. We worked together out at Thousand Oaks Station.
Okay.
And we had two sons.
Okay. And one of those is a Marine.
One of them was a Marine, yes,
Okay.
or is a Marine. Yeah.
He is a Marine.
You know,
Okay.
once you're a Marine, you're a Marine until. As my uncle used to tell me, he says, once a Marine, you're a Marine until you die, and when you die, you're a dead Marine.
I should have known. I've interviewed veteran Marines before. I should have realized. So is there anything we missed or anything else that you would like to add at this time that you would like to share going forward?
Well, I now have 3 grandsons, so I'm hoping one of the 3 of them will pick up the gauntlet and join the Marines also to
Right.
bring that 5th generation in.
Carry on the tradition. I think
Carry
that's
on the
wonderful.
tradition, so.
Wonderful, Bob. So if you had to come back and think, what impact did the military have on your life or your careers?
Well, you know, as far as going into law enforcement, it had a big impact because of my time at Naval Weapons Station Fallbrook. And I got interested in the law enforcement aspect. My time in Vietnam has had, some good friends, some good times, and some bad experiences, and some bad times afterwards. Because I'm one of the people who suffer from Agent Orange. I have diabetes, high blood pressure. I just had to have a heart valve replaced because of the Agent Orange, which is better. My brother, who was a Vietnam veteran also, he developed cancer and he died when he was 37 from the cancer from Agent Orange, which wasn't recognized even at that time.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You also have led a life of volunteerism. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do now?
Well, what I've done in the past, which was not organized like I wasn't, for many years I coached pony baseball teams. I was the president of the Somas Pony Baseball League for several years, and I always thought, and I helped YMCA youth teams when the kids were small, and Indian guides, Boy Scouts. You know, the usual things kids go through as they're growing up. But I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, a friend of mine said, "Come on, let's go come to a Lions Club meeting with me." Okay. Mike Morgan, if you know who Mike.
I do.
Okay. He and I have been friends since we both started in law enforcement at the same time. We met at the old jail up in early '73, if I remember right, and we've been friends since. Okay. He convinced me to go to the Lions Club and see what they were about, and I liked what they did and what they stood for. So I stayed in the club. I went through some offices. This year I'm the president of Pleasant Valley Lions Club, which is quite an honor. And we do most of it. People don't know what we do because it's, you know, the Lions Club itself was started in the 1920s by a guy named Melvin Jones. And Melvin Jones had the emphasis behind him starting the club, or right after he started the club, was Helen Keller, who went to him and said, "We need somebody to carry the torch for the blind and for the blind. Will you do it?" So the Lions Club is the #1 club in the world for sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do a lot of things. We do a lot of eye testing at the schools. We collect glasses. There's a lot of good things, but we do things also with the environment, with childhood cancer, with diabetes, lupus. We sponsor guide dogs. There's one lady in our club. I think she's on her 12th guide dog, which we pay for.
Yeah. And
then she keeps them for 18 months, and then they go to the next step of training. So we do the guide dogs. We sponsor the Guide Dogs of America Association, which is over in Negura. We give money to 805 Miracle League. We give money to the Boys and Girls Club. We support food pantry, both the one in Somas and the one at Cal State Channel Islands.
nice.
Okay, so real quickly, the shirt I have on, I had specially made because when I was running marathons, and my favorite one is the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C. First time we went back there, we discovered that everybody that was running, or not everybody, the great majority were running in honor of somebody, or because they had a person in the military or something. So I had this shirt made especially for that. And on the front of the shirt is the Marine Corps logo. On one side is the 1st Marine Division emblem, which I was with. And on the other side is the 3rd Battalion 1st Marine logo, which is my battalion. And down the back in the big numbers is the number 654. Well, 654 is that number is the number of names on the Vietnam Wall from my battalion. So every time I run, it's in honor of all of those 654 Marines that never came home.
We want to thank you for your service, not just in the military, but as a sheriff, and then now as a Lions Club president. We appreciate your time.